Shalom, shalom, shalom. All praises to the Most High, Yahawah, Bahashem, Yahawah. Shalom to the elect, those that are fighting to endure to the end, and that are calling on the true names of the Father and the name of the only begotten Son, Yahawah, Bahashem, Yahawah. Shalom. All right. I want to open up in the book of Ecclesiasticus, also known as Sirach in the Apocrypha, chapter 2 and verse 10. This is the book of Ecclesiasticus, chapter 2, verse 10. It reads, "Look at the generations of old and see, did ever any trust in the Lord, Yahawah?" So let's read that again. Ecclesiasticus, also known as the book of Sirach, chapter 2, verse 10. "Look at the generations of old and see, did ever any trust in the Lord and was confounded?" And the answer is no. It says, "Or did any abide in his fear and was forsaken?" Once again, the answer is no. It says, "Or whom did he ever despise that called upon him?" No one, okay? So that's the type of faith we have to have, man, okay? We have to look back to the old generation, okay, our forefathers, and we're going to get a couple examples of those today. So let's read this one more time, and then let's go into the first example. Ecclesiasticus, also known as Sirach, chapter 2, verse 10. Look at the generations of old, and see, did ever any trust in the Lord and was confounded? Or did any abide in his fear and was forsaken? Or whom did he ever despise that called upon him? No one, okay? And that's the kind of faith we're going to have coming into the times that we're getting ready to come into, okay? Now let's open up with the first example in the book of 1 Kings, and let's go to that, chapter 17. This is the book of 1 Kings, chapter 17, and let's start at the top. It says, "And Elijah the Tishbite, who was of the inhabitants of Galilee, said unto Ahab, As Yahawah power of Israel liveth, before whom I stand, there shall not be dew nor rain these years, but according to my word." Verse 2. "And the word of Yahawah came unto him, saying, Get thee hence, and turn thee eastward, and hide thyself by the brook Cherith, that is before Jordan." Okay, so we see right here, Elijah had a choice. Either he could go his own separate way, or he could, listen to the Lord, Yahawah, okay? And what did the Lord tell him to do? He told him to turn eastward, okay? Those are directions. And what did we read in Ecclesiasticus chapter 2 and verse 10? Let's go back and read that. Ecclesiasticus 2 and verse 10. It reads, Ecclesiasticus 2 and 10. "Look at the generations of old." Okay, that's what we're doing right now. We're looking at an example of one of the generations of old, speaking of Elijah. It says what? "And see, did ever any trust in the Lord?" So we seeing right off the rip, Elijah is already trusting in the Lord, because why? The Lord gave him a commandment to turn eastward, okay? Now he could have, leaned on his own understanding and went his own separate way, but what happened? We're going to find out, okay? Let's pick back up. 1 Kings 17, verse 3. It says, "Get thee hence and turn thee eastward, and hide thyself by the brook Cherith, that is before Jordan. And it shall be that thou shalt drink of the brook, and I have commanded the ravens to feed thee there. You see? So understanding directions and understanding, how you're going to get about, how you're going to get around in these times that's coming is essential. Okay, it's crucial to your salvation. Okay, you cannot lean on your own understanding. All right, you have to go by with the Spirit, guides you. Okay, the Holy Spirit, and we are listening to an example right now. So it says, verse 4, and it shall be that thou shalt drink of the brook, and I have commanded the ravens to feed thee there. Verse 5, 1 Kings 17 and 5. It says, so he went and did according to the word of Yahawah, for he went and dwelt by the brook Cherith, that is before Jordan. So you see, he followed the directions of Yahawah, okay? And in doing so, you're going to come to find out as we read, he was taken well care of, all right? Same thing that's going to happen in the days that's coming faster than we expected, okay? Jacob's trouble. It says, verse 6, and the ravens brought him bread and flesh in the morning, and bread and flesh in the evening, and he drank of the brook. You see? That's all because why? He hearkened and listened to the Most High. He could have turned westward or northward or southward, but the Most High told him to turn eastward, okay? And in doing so, he leaned not on his own understandings, and he was taken care of because, hey, the times that's getting ready to come, it's going to be easy for you to say, man, I'm just going to lean on my own understanding, man. Okay, I don't see any way out of this, all right? But you have to have faith, okay? And that's basically what we're going in today, man. Having faith, because trusting in your own understanding is going to get you caught up, And one thing you're going to see it coming through these examples that we go into is that all these, prophets had faith, man. They had to, okay? Here it is, Elijah, hearing that it's not going to be any rain nor dew for days, he had to take the faith and listen to Yahawah and turn eastward and go by the brook Cherith by Jordan, okay? Where then he could be, supplied with the amount of food and flesh that he needed from the ravens that the Most High brought for him, okay? Until it was time for him to what? Once again, listen to the Lord, Yahawah, and move accordingly, all right? So it says in 7, and it came to pass after a while that the brook dried up. The brook dried up. What am I going to do? Hey, it's going to be times where, hey, you're going to have it good, and then it ain't going to be so good. What do you got to do? You got to keep grounded. You got to keep in the faith. You cannot lean on your own understanding. It's going to get you caught up, plain and simple, okay? So going back, verse 7, it says, and it came to pass after a while, you see? So everything was going good. He was getting fed. He was, being supplied with the amount of, fluids he needed to drink and the amount of food he needed to eat. And then what happened? It says what? And it came to pass after a while that the brook dried up because there had been no rain in the land. Right. So now the rain has dried up. The rain has, been missing in the land. There's no, water in the brook. And what happens? Verse 8, and the word of Yahawah came unto him, saying, arise, get thee to Zarephath. Let me see that again. Verse 9. So let me start at verse 8. It says, and the word of Yahawah came unto him, saying, arise, get thee to Zarephath, which belongeth to Zidon, and dwell there. So here's another instruction that the Most High has given him, okay? Because the Most High, he was dealing with the prophets back then directly, okay? He would tell them through visions, and they would listen, okay? And he said, arise, get thee to Zarephath, which belongeth to Zidon, and dwell there. Behold, I have commanded a widow woman there to sustain thee. Right. And as you go on to read the rest of this chapter, you find out that that widow woman, she had a son, And hey, she took care of Elijah before she took care of her son. She made sure that he, had enough to eat, although she didn't have much. And in return, the Most High blessed her through Elijah. Okay, by what? He blessed it, her son, and he also gave her enough food to eat. Okay, even though she didn't have much. All right. So you have to trust in the Lord, man. Trust in Yahawah Bahashim Yahweh Shai. All right. Back to Ecclesiasticus 2:10. It reads, look at the generations of old and see, did ever any trust in the Lord and was confounded? And the answer is emphatically no. It says, or did any abide in his fear and was forsaken? Once again, the answer is no. See? Or whom did he ever despise that called upon him? No one. Okay? That's all predicated in assuming that you are of the elect. All right? You could call on him all you want, but if you're not of the elect, he's not going to hear you. Okay? So, hey, you got to be able to trust in the Lord, man. Trust in Yahweh when there's no, when there seems like there's no way out. Okay? We got to have this faith, and that's what we're building on right now in this mercy, in this grace period. We're building our faith up. Okay? Now let's go to Daniel 3, and let's go into the 3 that were tossed in the burning furnace. Okay? For not what? For not bowing down and worshiping. Okay? Once again, we're going to have faith in this time. Okay? Some of us are going to be martyrs. All right? That's just how it is, but we have to still have faith. Now, this is the book of Daniel. Chapter 3, and we're probably going to jump around till we get to the point, just so you can get a backdrop on what's going on. Daniel 3, and let's see how the top reads. This is Daniel 3. In verse 1, it says, Nebuchadnezzar, the king, made an image of gold. So right off the rip, we are to see where it's going at, okay? He made an image of gold, all right? And we know, pursuant to Exodus 20:3, thou shalt not put any other God before thee, okay? So there's going to be tests, man, where in order for you to get fed, in order for you to what? Sustain on this grid, you're going to have to worship that beast, that image, okay? Spoken of in Revelation, the 13th chapter. It says, verse 1, Daniel 3:1, Nebuchadnezzar, the king, made an image of gold, whose height was 60 cubits, and the breadth thereof 6 cubits. He set it up in the plain of Dura, in the province of Babylon. Right, so this golden image was set up in the province of Babylon, okay? And what happened? Let's read. It says, then Nebuchadnezzar, the king, sent to gather together the princes, the governors, and the captains, the judges, the treasurers, the counselors, the sheriffs, and all the rulers of the province to come to the dedication of the image which Nebuchadnezzar, the king, had set up. So he called everyone in the land to come to this dedication that he had set up. Verse 3. Then the princes, the governors, the captains, the judges, the treasurers, the counselors, the sheriffs, and all the rulers of the province were gathered together unto the dedication of the image that Nebuchadnezzar, the king, had set up. And they stood before the image that Nebuchadnezzar had set up. So they all was, paying homage in the image that Nebuchadnezzar had set up, Verse 4, then an herald cried aloud, to you it is commanded, O people, nations, and languages, that at what time you hear the sound of the cornet, flute, harp, sackbut, psaltery, dulcimer, and all kinds of music, you fall down and worship the golden image that Nebuchadnezzar the king have set up. So whatever time that they would hear this music throughout the land, they would have to bow down and worship this image. Okay, this was the dedication that was set up, all right, amongst the people in the land. That whenever they would hear any type of music, that would be a sign that they would have to bow and worship this golden image that was set up by Nebuchadnezzar. Let's go on and read. It reads verse 6, and whoso followeth not down in worship shall the same hour be cast into the midst of the burning fiery furnace. So whoever didn't bow down to this image, this golden image, when the music was played, they were what? They would get cast into the burning fiery furnace, okay? So let's jump around. It says, verse 8, Daniel 3 and 8, it says, wherefore at that time certain Chaldeans came near and accused the Jews. They spake and said to the king Nebuchadnezzar, O king, live forever. Thou, O king, verse 10, has made a decree that every man that shall hear the sound of the cornet, flute, harp, sackbut, psaltery, and dulcimer, and all kinds of music shall fall down and worship the golden image. And whoso followeth not down and worship, verse 11, Daniel 3 and 11, and whoso falleth not down and worship it, that he should be cast into the midst of a burning fiery furnace. Verse 12, there are certain Jews whom thou hast set over the affairs of the province of Babylon, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. These men, O king, have not regarded thee. They serve not thy gods, nor worship the golden image which thou hast set up. So you had a group of people that were pretty much, snitching, telling the king that, hey, these Jews that you put up in high positions, they're not even bowing down to the image that you put and made a decree that anytime you hear music being played, you're supposed to bow down and worship the image, okay? Well, these Chaldeans, they went and told the king that the three, what was the name? Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, they weren't worshiping, okay? They were not worshiping the image when the music came on. Let's see what happens. 13, then Nebuchadnezzar in his rage and fury commanded to bring Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. Then they brought these men before the king. So the king was mad, right? And he had those three men come before him. Okay? And let's see what happened. Verse 14. Nebuchadnezzar spake and said unto them, is it true, O Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego? Do not ye serve my gods, idols, nor worship the golden image which I have set up? So he questioned them. He said, is it true when you guys hear the music that you're not worshiping the image that I set up? And let's see what they said. Verse 15. Now, if ye be ready, that at what time ye hear the sound of the cornet, the flute, the harp, the sackbut, the psaltery, the dulcimer, and all kinds of music, ye fall down and worship the image which I have made. Well, but if you worship not, ye shall be cast the same hour into the midst of a burning fiery furnace. And who is that God that shall deliver you out of my hands? Okay? So the king, he gave him an ultimatum. He said, if it's true, you can worship the image when you hear the music playing, and if you don't, that very same hour, if you don't bow down and worship the image, you're going to be cast into the burning fiery furnace. And then he tried to, mock him and said, who God is that can deliver you out of that? You see? You have to be spiritual, okay? You have to have faith, man, because that's enough to shake and rock someone's foundation, to be faced with being thrown into a burning fiery furnace or to bow down to an image. Well, if you're of the elect, it's a no-brainer. Okay, we're gonna take the burning furnace. We're gonna take the burning fiery furnace over bowing down to any image any day of the week. Okay. It says, verse 16: Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego answered and said to the king, "O Nebuchadnezzar, we are not careful to answer thee in this matter. If it be so, our power whom we serve is able to deliver us from the burning fiery furnace, and he will deliver us out of thy hand, O king." Right, so he told him, he said, if it be so, our power can deliver us out of the hand of the king, man. So if this is what you must do, then do it. Our power is going to deliver us. So already they are, you know, they are decreeing and showing that they have faith in the true and living power, whose name is Yahawah. And what does it say? Verse 18: But if not, be it known unto thee, O king, that we will not serve thy gods, nor worship the golden image which thou hast set up. And they said, what? If it be so, we're not going to serve your gods or your images that you set up. Because it goes to show you that there's only one and true living power, Yahawah, and only he can deliver you out of the burning fiery furnace, okay? Not no idols, okay? Not no Jesus, you know? And we had an incident that's, you know, making the news, making this roundabouts, that the woman up there in Chicago, Illinois, you know, who was mowed down by Edomite cop, you know, she called on the name of Jesus and was, you know, instantly judged, okay? You see, there's not a name that you're going to be able to call under the heavens that's going to be able to deliver you. And damn sure not no Jesus, man. You see? And our people don't understand that till it's too late, all right? You got to get it right now. You got to get that in your head while you still have time, okay? Because once that burning fiery furnace is presented before you, it's going to be too late, okay? You're not going to know who to call on. And most of all, your works aren't going to show that you prove, the works that you do aren't going to show that you actually believe who you calling on, all right? So it says, verse 17, if it be so, our power whom we serve is able to deliver us from the burning fiery furnace, and he will deliver us out of thy hand, O king. But if not, verse 18, be it known unto thee, O king, that we will not serve thy power. Slakia. Let me start over from the top. Verse Daniel 3 and verse 18. But if not, be it known unto thee, O king, that we will not serve thy gods, nor worship the golden image which thou hast set up. Then was Nebuchadnezzar full of fury, right? Because they said, even so, we're not going to still worship your gods or your images that you set up. So that only incited Nebuchadnezzar to become even more furious, okay? So it says, verse 19, then was Nebuchadnezzar full of fury. In the form of his visage was changed against Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. You see? So he got mad, man. And he got furious when they stood on business and they said, even so, we still not going to serve your God, your image. Nebuchadnezzar, hey, he was completely, you know, furious, okay? He was furious, all right? It says what? His visage was changed against Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. Therefore he spake and commanded that they shall heat the furnace 7 times more than it was wont to be heated. So he got so furious that he said, heat the furnace 7 times more than it was supposed to be heated. So now the furnace is really blazing, okay? Now the heat is turned up, all right? And you got to be cool as a cucumber and actually have faith to stand on your principle, on this word, even after the king told you that he's going to turn the furnace up even 7 times hotter than it normally is, okay? That's going to, you know, burn you even faster, okay? It says verse 20, and he commanded the most mighty men that were in his army to bind Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego and cast them into the burning fiery furnace. So he told the most mightiest of his army, the man, to tie these three up, okay, and toss them into the furnace. But let's see what happened, okay. This is verse 21, Daniel 3 and 21. Then these men were bound in their coats, their hosen, and their hats, and their other garments, and were cast into the midst of the burning fiery furnace. So they were cast into the furnace, man. Okay. Nebuchadnezzar gave the command to the mighty men of his army to tie Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego up and toss them into the furnace, and that's what happened. Verse 22. Daniel 3 and 22. Therefore, because the king's commandment was urgent and the furnace exceeding hot, the flame of the fire slew those men that took up Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. So the fire was so hot that the men that the king gave commandment to throw into the burning fires, they got burned and slew, okay? So this is giving you an idea on how hot the furnace is, okay? The heat gonna get turned up, man, okay? The heat is going to get turned up through Jacob's trouble. It's the only way you can purge out all the impurities. When you put gold into fire, you have to get all the impurities out of it, okay? And that's the same way the elect is going to be tried through this time of Jacob's trouble. The heat's going to be turned up on us, okay? But through our faith, we're going to be tried and come out more precious than gold, all right? It says, verse 22, therefore, because the king's commandment was urgent and the furnace exceeding hot, the flame of the fire slew those men that took up Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. Verse 23, Daniel 3 and 23. And these three men, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, fell down, bound into the midst of the burning fiery furnace. Right. So now they was at the bottom of the fiery furnace, man. So now these three men, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, they were at the bottom of the fiery burning furnace. Verse 24. Then Nebuchadnezzar, the king, was astonished and rose up in haste and spake and said unto his counselors, did not we cast three men bound into the midst of the fire? They answered and said unto the king, true, O king. So the king was astonished, man. You know, he could have sworn he thrown three men into the furnace, but he seen a fourth man there, okay? That caused him so much to pop up, all right? Because he was watching this, all right? And he said, what? Let's read that again. Daniel 3 and 24. Then Nebuchadnezzar, the king, was astonished and rose up in haste and spake and said unto his counselors, did not we cast three men down into the midst of the fire? They answered and said unto the king, true, O king. He answered and said, lo, I see four men loose. So there was four men that was loose in this furnace, okay? Not only were the three that he gave the commandment to his men of the mighty army to bound and tie up to make sure they couldn't get out of a knot that it was tied, but they were all loose, and there was a fourth one in there. This is making the king trip, man. He's like, what the hell's going on here? Okay. Hey, and these Edomites and whoever else, when they come up against the man of the Most High, and that time when he lifted up that standard, they're gonna be astounded too. Okay, make no mistake about it. They're going to be astounded too when they see the spiritual powers that's given to the man of the Most High in that day. Okay, because some of us are going to receive spiritual powers on this side. All right. So verse 25, he answered and said, "Lo, I see 4 men loose, walking in the midst of the fire. They have no hurt, and the form of the fourth is like the Son of the Most High." So the king was really, having it, man. He said, "I see the 3 men walking, and they have no hurt. And the fourth man is like the Son of the Most High, YAHAWAH. So the fourth man is like an angel walking upon them. Okay, and this was tripping the king out, man. He was witnessing this right before his very own eyes. Okay. So it says, verse 26, then Nebuchadnezzar came near to the mouth of the burning fiery furnace and spake and said, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, ye servants of the Most High Power, come forth and come hither. Then Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego came forth of the midst of the fire. So he told them to come forth out of the midst of the fire. And the princes, governors, and captains, verse 27, and the king's counselors being gathered together saw these men upon whose body the fire had no power, nor was an hair of their head singed, neither were their coats changed, nor the smell of fire had passed on them. So the fire had no effect whatsoever on them at all. From their clothes being singed, it didn't smell like fire, to not even a hair on their head being singed. Okay? This goes into what we read in Ecclesiasticus 2 and 10. Whoever trusted in Yahweh and was confounded, no one. Okay? Because you have to have trust. You have to have faith, man. Verse 28, Daniel 3 and 28. Then Nebuchadnezzar spake and said, Blessed be the power of Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, who have sent his angel and delivered his servants that trusted in him. All right? That trusted in him. Let's go back and get that in Ecclesiasticus, man. That was one of the questions. And we getting the answers right now. We reading the answers right now. Ecclesiasticus chapter 2 and verse 10. It says, look at the generations of old. And that's what we're doing right now. We're reading about the generations of old. It says, and see, did ever any trust in the Lord? So this is a prime example, Did ever trust in the Lord? Yes. We got 3 of them. Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego who trust in the Lord, Yahweh. Okay? It says, let me go back. Ecclesiasticus 2 and verse 10. It says, look at the generations of old and see, did ever any trust in the Lord and was confounded? And the answer is no. Okay, we're reading it right now. These 3, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, they trust in the Lord and they were not confounded. Okay? Matter of fact, the king was confounded because he had no faith, he had no trust. And so much that he called his counselors, which we're reading right now in verse 26. It reads, and whereas they commanded to leave the stump of the, Salaki. Daniel 3 and 28. Then Nebuchadnezzar spake and said, blessed be the power of Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, who have sent his angel and delivered his servants that trust in him and have changed the king's word and yield their bodies that they might not serve nor worship any God except their own God. So the Most High confounded Nebuchadnezzar, okay, through the acts of Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, having faith and trusting and was not confounded. The Most High used them to change the what? The heart of the king, to allow them to serve their power, our power, whose name is Yahawah. Okay? So it says, verse 28, but Daniel 3 and 28, then Nebuchadnezzar spake and said, blessed be the power of Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, who have sent his angel and delivered his servants that trusted in him and have changed the king's word and yield their bodies that they might not serve nor worship any God except their own God, whose name is Yahawah. So through their act of faith and trust and having complete faith in Yahawah, you know, that they were able to serve their own God. Okay? That's powerful, man. Did ever any trust in the Lord and was confounded? And the answer is with an emphatically no. Emphatic no. No one that trusts in the Lord that was of the elect was ever confounded, man. Let's go ahead and finish up because there's only got two more verses in this chapter. I know I said we wasn't going to read all of Daniel chapter 3, but it was just flowing so good we had to. So we might as well go ahead and finish up with Daniel chapter 3 and read these last two verses. Verse 29. Therefore, make a decree that every people, nation, and language which should speak anything amiss against the power of Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego shall be cut in pieces, and their houses shall be made a dunghill, because there is no other power that can deliver after this sort. So anyone that was ever caught speaking ill towards the power of Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, they were to be cut in pieces and their houses to be burned down, okay? Showing you that, you know, there's only one and true and living power, all right? And he's going to magnify himself through his servants, the prophets, in these last days that's coming up. Okay, he's already doing it already, as you see the servants of the Most High going out on the highways and hedges, preaching and teaching. Okay, well, soon he's going to raise them up and give some of them spiritual powers. Okay, and we all, through faith, have, because faith is a spiritual power. Not everyone can possess faith, man. Okay, it takes a particular individual to possess faith, man. Okay, so faith is already a sign of a spiritual power, man. Okay, verse 30. Then the king promoted Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego in the province of Babylon. Man, so the king, you know, he promoted them. After witnessing that firsthand, man, hey, that put things into perspective from him, man. That put the fear of the Lord to the king, man. And so much he promoted them, all right? And what does it say in Hebrews 10 and 31? It is a fearful thing to fall into the hands of the true and living power. Hey, that couldn't be more true, man. Even for these other nations that don't respect, you know, they gonna get what's coming to them, okay? But how much more our people that don't, okay, that hear this truth and walk about and drive by and they don't even think to stop and get the word, man. How much more they gonna get it when their judgment comes, okay? Because the time of repentance is closing. That window is closing, okay? Soon it's gonna be lights out, okay? No more getting this word, this true word, all right? You're gonna get whatever is left out there on the streets for you to hear, whether it's on the literal streets or whether it's on the internet streets, okay? It ain't gonna be the truth. You're not gonna get the names, okay? You're not gonna get the servants of the Most High exalting the names like you're getting right now, okay? So let's go to, what was that? Let's go to Isaiah 13. Because I made a reference earlier that as Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego was thrown into the burning fiery furnace, so is the elect of this time going to be thrown into the burning fiery furnace to what? To purge out all the impurities. Okay, because why? We're going to be tried and made as, fine gold, more precious than fine gold. Let's read it. Isaiah 13 and verse 12. Isaiah 13 and 12. And it reads, I will make a man more precious than fine gold, even a man than the golden wedge of Ophir. And how is he going to do that? He's going to try us, man. He's going to try us with Jacob's trouble. Okay? Jacob's trouble is going to be our burning fiery furnace, okay? And it's going to be turned up all the way, man. It's going to be turned up all the way, all right? It's going to see who truly believes in what they say, okay? Some of us is going to have to pay that ultimate price with our life, all right? But we're going to get it back in the kingdom. We're going to be the first to be called up. 1 Thessalonians 4 and 16, okay? So some of us gonna pay the price, but hey, we win in the long run anyways, okay? So that burning fiery furnace is coming. Make no mistake about it, all right? Isaiah 13 and 12. I will make a man more precious than fine gold. So we're gonna be more precious than fine gold, okay? And you can't get the purest gold without turning the heat all the way up, okay? You have to turn that furnace all the way up to get out all those impurities, okay? And that's what he's going to do to us, all right? He's going to turn that furnace up in Jacob's trouble. But what? That angel, Yahawah Ba'Shem Yahweh Shai is going to be with us, okay? Just like the angel was with Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. Let's read it. Daniel 12 and verse 1. This is the book of Daniel, chapter 12 and verse 1. It reads, Daniel 12 and 1. And at that time shall Michael stand up, the great prince, which standeth for the children of thy people. And there shall be a time of trouble, such as never was since there was a nation, even to that same time. And at that time thy people shall be delivered, every one that shall be found written in the book. So Michael the archangel is going to stand up for us, just like the angel in the burning fiery furnace was there for Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. Okay, the same way. Those of us that are the elect that are found in this book, we're going to have our angels stand up for us, okay? Michael the archangel is going to be standing up for us, okay? So we're going to go through that same burning fiery furnace, but it's going to be even more hotter, more fire, okay? More fire, like Benjamin say, man. Jacob's trouble is going to be more fire. It's going to be like a time that's never been on the face of this earth, man. That burning fiery furnace is going to try everyone, okay? But those that are found in the book, we're going to be taken care of, man. Because why? We read it. Whoever trusts in the Lord and was confounded. No one whose name is written in the book, okay? So you got to pray that you are of the elect, all right? That's the only way you're going to make it out, if you're of the elect, okay? Outside of that, you're not coming out of this burning fiery furnace. And what is that burning fiery furnace? Babylon the Great, America, okay? This place is going to be set on fire. It's going to be that lake of fire spoken of in Revelation, that burning fiery furnace, okay? This place has been set for a memorial, all right? Babylon the Great, which is America, is going to be that burning fire that's going to purge out everything, okay? All the iniquity that was done is going to be purged out, okay? It's going to be set on fire, all right? And through the midst, those that are found in the book, speaking of the elect, are going to be delivered out of that. But we're still going to have to go through those trials and tribulations during Jacob's trouble, all the way up until the time that the chariots come and deliver the elect. all right, out of America, Babylon the Great, okay? So we all going to be tried in that burning fiery furnace in some way, shape, or fashion, man, okay? And then ultimately, the Most High going to turn the furnace up, and this place, what you know now as America, is going to be no more, okay? Once those thermonuclear missiles come, and man, I read like somewhere it can get up to like 1,000 degrees, man. 1,000 degrees. And there are going to be thousands upon thousands of missiles coming to set it off here in America, man. So if you ain't of the elect, you're not going to make it out of that burning fiery furnace unscathed, okay? Because it tells us in Psalms 91, only with thy eyes shall thou behold the wicked, okay? As we getting lifted up out of here, we're going to see the wicked get singed, get scorched, get burned, get annihilated, man. All right? But then the wicked of our people, the 2/3, they're gonna come back into the kingdom, okay? They got purged, they got, all the impurities out, and now through the elect, they're gonna come back through the kingdom, all right? With a righteous mind, okay? So whoever trusted in the Lord and was confounded, no one, all right? Now that was Elijah we read. We read about Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. Let's read about one more, Daniel. And I'm pretty sure most of you familiar with Daniel being tossed into the lion's den, okay? Let's read it. Daniel 6. And we may jump around, we may go through the whole chapter. This is Daniel chapter 6 and verse 1. It reads, it pleased Darius to set over the kingdom 120 princes, which should be over the whole kingdom, and over these 3 presidents, of whom Daniel was first, that the prince might give accounts unto them, and the king should have no damage. Then this Daniel was preferred above the presidents and princes, because an excellent spirit was in him. So Daniel, he was highly favored because the excellent spirit was in him, okay? He had broke down the king's dream and told him what the kingdoms meant. The dreams that the king had, he broke that down and gave an interpretation that the king's sorcerers, his Chaldeans, none of them could, figure out what the dream meant. But Daniel broke it down, okay? So it says, verse 3, Daniel 6 and 3. Then this Daniel was preferred above the presidents and princes because an excellent spirit was in him. And the king thought to set him over the whole realm. Right. So you're going to find out that there's some that, they was envious of this, okay? And in doing so, they set Daniel up, okay? They set Daniel up to be thrown into the lion's den. But what does it tell us in Isaiah 54 and 17? No weapon formed against thee shall prosper. It does not mean that the weapon won't be formed, but it won't prosper. So in this case, the weapon was formed that what? Daniel should be tossed into the lion's den, but it did not prosper. And we're going to come to find out why. Okay? Let's pick back up. Daniel 6 and 4. Then the presidents and princes sought to find occasion against Daniel. So this is the weapon being formed, man. These other presidents and princes, they sought an occasion to find against Daniel concerning the kingdom, but they could find none occasion nor fault. For as much as he was faithful, neither was there any error or fault found in him. Right, so we just read that he was what? He was faithful, and there was no fault found in him. Okay, and what did we read? Ecclesiasticus 2 and 10. Whoever trusts in the Lord and was confounded? No one. Okay, that was faithful. That was of the elect. And we are reading another account, an example of Daniel right here. Okay, let's pick back up. Verse 5. Then said these men, we shall not find any occasion against this Daniel, except we find it against him concerning the law of his power. So they had to, they had to be conniving and try to, as we're gonna come to find out, sneak a law into the king, where that Daniel would have to be what, put into opposition, where he would either have to serve the king or serve the Most High. You see, it's always someone trying to come in between the elect, the service of the Most High, and whoever for their own purpose. It's the same thing right here. Look to the generations before. We're looking and we're seeing, okay? This right here is how we build our faith, by reading, okay? Seeing what happened, and no one was ever confounded, okay? This is what's building up our faith, all right? Reading and understanding it in its fullness. So verse 7. It's like it. Let's jump up to verse 6. Daniel 6:6. Then these presidents and princes assembled together to the king and said unto him, King Darius, live forever. So they came into him trying to suck up, saying, King Darius, live forever, trying to get on his good side before they promote this decree to the king so they can get Daniel into a trap. So it says, all the presidents of the kingdom, the governors and the princes, the counselors and the captains have consulted together to establish a royal statute. So you see, see how wicked these individuals is, man? They're trying to come against the man of the Most High. This reminds me of Luke 20:20, okay? They had just men's coming, let's get it. So I don't screw it up. Let's get it. Luke 20:20. This is the book of St. Luke, chapter 20, verse 20. And they watched him and sent forth spies, which should feign themselves just men, that they might take hold of his words, that so they might deliver him unto the power and authority of the governor. So you had just men, or those pretending to be just men, trying to what? Trap up YAHAWAH so that they could, hand him over to the proper authority. All right, the same thing that they doing here to Daniel. Talk about, let's make a royal statute, okay? Like a decree, a law, all right? They came to the king, sucking up to him, saying, long live the king, and in actuality, in their heart, their mind, they had, ill towards Daniel. Because why? He was highly favored, okay? They wanted to take him out. And they knew they couldn't get him any other way but to put something where he would come up against, or have to come up against, his power, YAHAWAH, okay? Same way they did back in Luke 20:20. They feigned themselves to be just men to try to trip up YAHAWAH in his speech and his word, so that they can go back to the proper authority and report him and get him taken out, okay? Same way it's gonna be during Jacob's trouble, okay? You're gonna have individuals that's telling lies and, taking our words out of context and, giving it to the proper authority and, having us handed over to the magistrate, the kings and governors, okay? And it's all gonna be for a testimony anyways, okay? You see, we can't lose in this truth, man. That's the beautiful thing about it. We cannot lose in this truth. No matter which way it turns, we're going to come out on top as long as we keep our faith and trust in Yahawah by Hashem YAHAWAH. Ecclesiasticus 2:10. Look to the generations before and see, did anyone trust in the Lord and was confounded? And the answer is no. Same way it's going to be in our times, okay? Because what does it say in Romans 15:4? The things that was written aforetime was for our learners, okay? It's going to happen again, all right? So let's pick back up. In Daniel 6, in verse 6. Daniel 6:6. Then these presidents and princes assembled together the king and said unto the king, King Darius, live forever. So they was trying to, come and, meekness and humbleness, talking about King Darius live forever. All the while, they scheming and plotting on Daniel, man. So they scheming and plotting on Daniel, coming to King Darius, like King Darius live forever. Okay, we got something for you. Let's we want to run this by you. So it says, verse 7, and the presidents of the kingdom, the governors and the princes, the counselors and the captains have consulted together to establish a royal statute and to make a firm decree that whosoever shall ask a petition of any power or man for 30 days, save O thee, O king, he shall be cast into the den of lions. Right. So they proposed to the king. They said, whosoever should make a petition for the next 30 days of any god or any man should be going to the lion's den. Okay. And they knew that Daniel, what? He made a petition. He made it his business to pray 3 times facing towards the east, okay? This is how they think they're going to trip up and snare and catch Daniel, okay? And we're going to read what happened, all right? Verse 8, now, O king, establish the decree and sign the writing, that it be not changed, according to the law of the Medes and Persians, which altereth not. Wherefore King Darius signed the writing in the decree. So the king was like, okay, I'll do it. I signed it. I put the decree. I put my signet on it. Verse 9, Daniel 6:9. Wherefore King Darius signed the writing and the decree. Verse 10. Now when Daniel knew that the writing was signed, he went into his house, and his windows being open in his chamber toward Jerusalem, he kneeled upon his knees 3 times a day. So he had the windows open. He had his house facing towards Jerusalem. He got on his knees and prayed 3 times a day. But this goes against the royal statute that was just made a decree for these 30 days, you see? So these conniving snakes, these devils, they went into the king trying to say King Darius live forever just so they can get this decree to pass so that they could trip up and catch Daniel and get him taken off the scene altogether by having him thrown into the lion's den, okay? So they thought by having this decree and getting Daniel caught up and thrown into the lion's den that they could take his position. But we're going to find out what happens. Verse 10. Now when Daniel knew that the writing was signed, he went into his house, and his windows being open in his chamber towards Jerusalem, he knelt upon his knees 3 times a day and prayed and gave thanks before his power as he did aforetime. So he already was doing this, okay? He wasn't going to stop just because they made a royal statute decree for these 30 days. Like just for 30 days, just don't do it. No, man. Okay, he did it every day. He was already doing it aforetime. All right? Verse 11. Daniel 6:11. Then these men assembled and found Daniel praying and making supplication before his power. So they all got together and they found him going against the decree that was just made, praying and making supplication. They just said that you weren't supposed to do that for the next 30 days, okay? Verse 12, then they came near and spake before the king concerning the king's decree. Hast thou not signed a decree that every man thou shalt ask a petition of any power or man within 30 days, save O thee, O king, shall be cast into the den of lions. So they said, didn't you make a decree that any man asking for a petition of any god or any man for the next 30 days, except for you, should be tossed into the den of the lions? It says what? The king answered and said, the thing is true. He said, yes, I did say that. He said, according to the law of the Medes and Persians, which altereth not. 13, Daniel 6 and 13. Then answered they and said before the king, that Daniel, which is of the children of the captivity of Judah, regardeth not thee, O king, nor the decree that thou hast signed, but maketh his petition 3 times a day. So they went and they told on Daniel, man. That was the plan from the beginning, to catch him and doing something that he could be found guilty in the eyes of the king. Okay, and they did it. They got it. They caught it. Okay, so they believe they caught it. Daniel 6 and 14. Then the king, when he heard these words, was sore displeased with himself, and set his heart on Daniel to deliver him. And he labored to the going down of the sun to deliver him. So he labored, man. Verse 15. Then these men assembled unto the king and said unto the king, now, it's like it, know, O king, that the law of the Medes and Persians is that no decree nor statute which the king established may be changed. So they made it easy for him because the king was laboring. Okay, but they said, hey, no decree or statute that is made can be changed. So don't go back on your word, just because you favor it. Daniel 6 and 16. Then the king commanded, and they brought Daniel and cast him into the Daniel 6 and 16. Then the king commanded, and they brought Daniel and cast him into the den of the lions. Now the king spake and said unto Daniel, thy power whom thou servest continually, he will deliver thee. So the king told Daniel, man, not that he needed to tell him that, because Daniel already knew. But the king told him, he said, hey, the power that you serve daily will deliver you. 17, and a stone was brought and laid upon the mouth of the den, and the king sealed it with his own signet and with the signet of his lords, that the purpose might not be changed concerning Daniel. So the king threw Daniel into the lion's den, and he put a boulder, a rock on it, and signed it with his signet that it be not moved. Okay? So the king at this point in time, he probably knew what was going on. Okay? That's why he told him that power will deliver you. 18, Daniel 6 and 18. Then the king went to his place and passed the night fasting. Neither were instruments, music brought before him, and his sleep went from him. So the king, he went fasting, man, because, he had a thing for Daniel, man. Okay, he knew what they was doing. He knew they was trying to set him up. 19, Daniel 6 and 19. Then the king arose very early in the morning and went in haste into the den of lions. And when he came to the den, he cried with a lamentable voice unto Daniel. And the king spake and said to Daniel, O Daniel, servant of the living power, is thy power whom thou servest continually able to deliver thee from the lions? So he said, O Daniel, was your power able to deliver you from the lions? And what did Daniel say? Verse 21. Then said Daniel unto the king, O king, live forever. You see? So this old king live forever was in sincerity, as opposed to those that came to him saying the king live forever to try to trap Daniel. The fact that Daniel answered him allow him to know that, yes, my power delivered me. Okay? Okay. Whoever trusted in the Lord and was confounded. No one, man, of the elect whose name was found written in the book. So it says, then said Daniel unto the king, O king, live forever. My power have sent his angel and have what? Shut the lion's mouth. They, Salakia, that they have not hurt me. So the angel came once again and he shut the mouth of the lions, man. Touch not my servant, do not my prophets no harm, okay? We gonna be good, man. No weapon formed against us shall prosper, all right? So it says, verse what? 22. My power have sent his angel, whose name is YAHAWAH. He sent his angel and have shut the lion's mouth, that they have not hurt me. For as much as before him innocent, him, Slakia. Let me read that again. They have not hurt me. For as much as before him innocency was found in me. And also before thee, O king, have I done no hurt. So he understood, he said, hey, it was, innocency found in me. I didn't do you no harm, man. I was praying to my power before this decree was even coming to play. Okay, it told you that he was doing that a fourth time. All right, so he gonna do what he do, man. You see, we not gonna switch up and give praise to another god or whoever, especially the image of the beast. We ain't doing it, man. Plain and simple. So it says what? Daniel 6 and verse 23. Then was the king exceedingly glad for him, and commanded that they should take Daniel up out of the den. So Daniel was taken up out of the den, and no manner of hurt was found upon him, because he believed in his power. All right? So there was no damage done to him. Why? Because he believed in his power. YAHAWAH Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai. Let's read that again in Ecclesiasticus. Let's read that in Ecclesiasticus 2 and 10. The book of Ecclesiasticus, chapter 2, and verse 10. Look at the generations of old and see, did ever any trust in the Lord and was confounded? Or did any abide in his fear and was forsaken? So did any ever abide in his fear and was forsaken? And we see the answer is no. Because Daniel abided in his fear, okay? Daniel feared the Most High, okay? And so much that he continued to pray 3 times a day, even with the royal statute decree being declared for the next 30 days. He could have easily said, okay, I'm going to put off the next 30 days of not praying to my power so that I don't be thrown into the lion's den. No, he stood on business, and he stood on what he believed and had faith, and continued to pray even in the midst of being thrown into the lion's den. It says what? Look at the generations of old and see, did ever any trust in the Lord and was confounded? Or did any abide in his fear and was forsaken? Or whom did he ever despise that called upon him? No one, okay? That name was found in the book, that of the elect. No one was ever confounded. Okay? And we reading another account of that. Okay, we reading Daniel. All right? Let's go back to it. Daniel 6 and 23. Then was the king exceeding glad for him, and commanded that they should take Daniel up out of the den. So Daniel was taken up out of the den, and no manner of hurt was found upon him. Ecclesiasticus 2 and 10. Because he believed in his power. Right. So here we go. We see it, man. You got to believe, you got to have faith. Faith is a spiritual power, man. Not everyone can possess faith, man. Not everyone you see and come across can possess faith. Okay? 24. And just to put a cherry on the top, let's read 24. And the king commanded, and they brought those men which had accused Daniel, and they cast them into the den of lions. Them, their children, and their wives, and the lions had the mastery of them, and break all their bones in pieces, or ever they came at the bottom of the den. So the lions, the angel wasn't with them, okay? The lion tore them apart. He tore them apart, their wives, and their children, okay? Showing you, man, don't mess with the man of the Most High. Don't mess with the man of the Lord, all right? Look to the generations and old and see if ever anyone trusts in the Lord and was confounded, and the answer is emphatically no, okay? And we see that, through time, throughout the scriptures, all right? So we have to trust in the Lord, man. Trust in Yahawah, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, all right? We gonna be all right. We got accounts and examples to look on and to read to build up our faith, all right? We have to trust in the Lord. That's it, all right? No ifs, ands, or buts about it. Proverbs 3 and what? Let's get it. Proverbs 3. And verse 4. Proverbs 3 and 4. It says, so shalt thou find favor and good understanding in the sight of the men. It's like, let me start over again. Proverbs chapter 3 and verse 4. So shalt thou find favor and good understanding in the sight of the Most High in man. Verse 5, this is the point. Trust in Yahawah. Trust in Yahawah. This is the point. Verse 5. Proverbs 3 and 5. Trust in Yahawah with all thy heart, and lean not unto thy own understanding. You see, so we have to trust in Yahawah, all right? Even though it seems, it's gonna be rough, and it's gonna be seems like it's gonna be times where, hey, it ain't gonna be no way out. We gotta stay true, okay? We gotta stay true to who we are, man. We gotta stay in this faith, okay? If we are the elect, the fire gonna get turned up. The burning fire furnace is only gonna get turned up from here on out. But we gotta stay grounded, man. We gotta stay with our trust, okay? That's all we have right now is faith, okay? Until we get spiritual powers, we got to continue to, last with this faith that we have. We're going to continue to have this faith, okay? So trust in Yahawah with all thy what? With all thy heart, and lean not unto thy own understanding. And that's the point, man. Did anyone ever trust in the Lord Yahawah and was confounded? And the answer is no, okay? So there's benefits to the utmost degree in trusting in Yahawah. You're going to be taken care of. You're going to have food to eat, water to drink, shelter, everything in the times that's coming, okay? In the midst of adversity, he's going to send his angel to take care of you, to look out for you, okay? When you face with adversity, that burning fiery furnace, the angel's going to deliver you. those chariots are going to come and deliver us up out of here, all right? When you put in the lion's den and accuse falsely for something that you didn't do, you got to stay true, okay? No ifs, ands, or buts about it. You got to stay true, all right? Even when faced with adversity, you got to stay true to who you are, okay? That lion's den, that's enough to break anybody, okay? Seeing a face of a lion getting ready to devour you, you know, faced with that option, most would buckle under that pressure, man. But if you have faith, that's enough to keep you going through, okay? And people sell faith short as if it's not as if it's not a spiritual power, okay? You can't sell faith short. Ephesians 2:8. Let's get that. And then we'll probably wrap up after that. Ephesians chapter 2. Give me 1 second. Ephesians 2 and verse 8. It reads, "For by grace are ye saved through faith, and that not of your own selves." Let me read over again, man. Let me read that over again. Smart. Ephesians 2 and 8. It says, "For by grace are ye saved through faith, and that not of yourselves. It is the gift of the Most High." So it's a gift, man. It's a spiritual power. It's a gift to have faith, man. Not everyone could have faith, okay? Not everyone could have faith. If that was the case, those ones that were thrown into the lion's den after Daniel was taken out would have what? Would have not been eaten up, okay? So you have to have faith. You have to have trust, man. And look to the generations of old. We look to a few of them in the accounts that we went over, okay? Did any of them ever, fail or was confounded that trust in the Lord? And the answer is no, all right? So that's going to be it. We're going to wrap it up. We're going to turn it first. We're going to turn and face the east and give all praises to the Most High, YAHAWAH, Bahashem, YAHAWAH. All right? Until the next time, if it be the Lord's will, until the next time. Shalom. Peace.